Well, hello and welcome to PM Express, and today we are looking at the EC4 after the exit of the EC3 with all the sagas that came along with it. In comes the EC4. Indeed, they've just been nominated and they're going to go through all the processes before they become officialized. But then it's had so many angles: the political twist, the legal twist, the constitutional twist. Did the president make a right move, or did the president make a wrong move? And that's the conversation on the table. Is there ever going to be a time that somebody will be nominated who fingers will not be pointed at as to whether they are this party or that party? Because all EC bosses seem to go through it. So far as you are elected by a president who happens to belong to a party, it is deemed that, well, then you're going to sing their song or dance to their tune. But looking at the EC and its structures, I mean, what can an EC boss do? It's an election, you go to the polls, and now that the political parties are smart enough to count their ballots at the polling station, what at all can the EC boss do? Can you really manipulate the votes and let, a losing party win? I don't know. However, the question of trust, the question of mistrust is so high when it comes to EC chairmanship. It's unbelievable the way normally the minority or the opposition have absolute total distrust for whoever is the EC boss. And sometimes, ironically, even when they elect the EC and they happen to go into opposition, as soon as they go into position, they just don't trust the EC. What can we do? What systems can we put in place to make sure that this thing minimizes or gets away once and for all? It's a long conversation. It's a conversation that should be had, and that's what we are looking at. Incoming of the EC4. Don't go away. My name is Nana Sakwa, the fourth Chief of the only republic within the republic. When I come back, we're looking at the EC4. Don't go there. Thank you very much. With me in the studio is it's our friend, and I think he's earned the title of friend of PM Express, and he's a governance analyst, a political analyst, and his name is Fred Odro. Fred, you're welcome.
Good evening, Nana.
Fred's got the nicest smokes, and I was he just comes here to show off his nice smokes to me. Fred's always got the perfect smokes. Looks good.
Thank you very much.
Well, let me start by, on the 23rd of July 2018, there was a letter from the office of the president signed by the chief of staff, and it says, for immediate release, Pres.Akufo-Addo nominates new chairperson, deputy chairpersons, and a member of the electoral commission. And it reads, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has, by a letter dated Thursday, 19th July 2018, sought the advice of the Council of State in accordance with Article 70, Clause 2 of the Constitution for the appointment of a new chairperson, two deputy chairpersons, and a member of the Electoral Commission. This follows a removal from office on Thursday, 28 June 2018, of the former chairperson of the EC, Mrs. Charlotte Osei, and the two deputies, Mr. Amidu Sule and Mrs. Georgina Opoku Amankwa, by the President Akufo-Addo, after the committee established by the Chief Justice, Justice Sophia Akufu, to investigate petitions brought against them, recommended their removal. Further, the retirement from office of Ms. Pauline Dadzewa, a member of the commission, on Monday, 30th April 2018, has created an additional vacancy in the commission. The following persons have thus been nominated for the appointment by the President to fill these vacancies, subject to the advice of the Council of State. The names are 1. Mrs. Jean Adukwe Mensa, Chairperson. 2. Mr. Samuel Tete, Deputy Chairperson. 3. Mr. Eric Asari Bosman, Deputy Chairperson. And lastly, Ms. Ajoa Suma Abrefa, Member of the Commission. President Akufo-Addo is hopeful that the Council of State will discharge its constitutional duties expeditiously to enable him make these critical appointments to this very important institution of state. Signed, Honorable Akosia Frema Osei Opare, Chief of Staff. Pray. SMP.
Well, for starters, quite a number of people have raised questions as to why the names were released before consideration by the Council of State. Sincerely, I can't pretend to be an authority on protocols on such issues, but there could be negatives and there could be positives. The negatives include the fact that people are now making hue and cry about it. But on the positive side, I think I'm one of the people who believed that this state, maybe not, if not on this platform, elsewhere, that I believe the president needs to consult extensively on this issue. And the consultation process, he may not be able to engage all of us in our individual capacities in privacy. So if the names also come out prior to the consideration of the Council of State, commentaries run on the various individuals will help the Council of State and even ultimately the President to decide whether they should go ahead with these individuals or not. Be as it may, I don't think there is a collateral damage as to the names haven't come out. But there is a school of thought indeed that believes that this list should not have come out as it did. So that is what I would like to say on that score.
Let's look at the personalities. I mean, could there be a set of personalities chosen by any party, had it been NDC or MPP, that the opposition will say, what a brilliant choice made by the president?
I don't expect that. I have never expected it. So personally, I've not been surprised as to the response that has created this. Mind you, the president appointed Mr. Martin Amidu, who belonged or belongs to the NDC side, and even that was received with some level of skepticism by some members of the opposition. So it shouldn't surprise us so much, considering the circumstances under which the immediate past chairperson of the Electoral Commission and her deputies were removed. It's even already a continuous issue, because the NDC has persistently stated that they believe that there was an orchestrated attempt to remove Mrs. Osei and her colleagues from the office. And what really worries me is when people say, "Oh, you remove this person so that you can put in place people who can manipulate the electoral system for you." So I ask myself, can the EC chairperson or the commissioners individually and collectively succeed in changing the will of the people? Can a party do that? If a party cannot do that, why is it then that political parties, all of them, particularly the MPP and the NDC, and indeed the other parties, would always go at a particular electoral commissioner? And I think Dr. Farijan suffered the most.
I'll come to Farijan, but could it be that maybe you can't swing the vote, but you can frustrate?
Well, I believe certain things can be done, and I believe that if political parties are not vigilant, something could be done. But mind you, we had this famous, or what I consider to be an infamous statement. The elections are won at the polling station. For me, it's a very infamous statement for me, because it brings about a lot of political tension. And I've stated elsewhere that, but for the same Supreme Court, which went out of its way to assure particularly the then opposition MPP, I don't know what could have happened in the last election. There was this penchant that whatever the opposition suggested, particularly the MPP suggested, was never considered. And consistently, I've realized this thing in Ghana. It doesn't matter which political party is in power. The party in power tends to support virtually everything that the EC says. And for me, that is not building confidence in the EC. With the exception of a single issue, there was a particular by-election that all the political parties said they don't want that by-election because it was too close to another election. And I remember all the political parties, for the first time, MPP and DC,
agreed
that we won't have this by-election.
Yes, because it was going to be too expensive.
It was going to be expensive, and it's going to create tension. And bar that one issue, I can't ever remember a single case that the ruling government had not backed the EC and the opposition party, particularly if you take MPP and DC, whoever is wearing whichever boot, they would always back the government. The ruling party will back the EC, and then the opposition party will be against the EC. So I think maybe unless particularly the MPP and the NTC can come out to tell us that indeed when we are in power we can manipulate the EC, or then both of them should change their attitude. It doesn't bode well for our political space. It creates too much tension. So because of this, we tend to lose focus of the real issues. One of my major problems in this country is that after the last elections, because an opposition party won, we've not done a proper assessment of the election. And the proper assessment of the election is not what happened with the declaration of results, but every aspect of the election. Did we follow the rules? Was everything as it should have been? Then we can really learn from our mistakes and improve on it. But now an opposition party won, so we are happy. And we think we had free and fair election. But I hold a contrary opinion to that.
There were things happening, but let's hear views from other political parties.
It's shocking to me that Jean Mensa of all is the person with such impeccable qualifications that the president is talking about.
She doesn't have that. She's a lawyer, you know that.
A lawyer practicing where?
But of course, she's a lawyer.
I'm saying that going to law school, does that mean that because you have obtained a certificate, you know? Beyond that, let's put that aside. That okay, she's a lawyer. So what? Because she's a lawyer, it means that she has proficiency in electoral matters. From the university, she works at her husband's outfit, and because of that, she is CEO. And that is all about it. We who have worked with her know her temperament. We know that this is a lady that is abrupt. This is a lady that teamwork is sometimes a problem. And you are bringing her to a sensitive outfit like the Electoral Commission, where dissenting opinions must be tolerated. In any case, can any one of you factor why Nana Akufo-Addo will boycott an IEA organized presidential debate? It is because of the character and person Jean Mensa.
No, you don't know that for sure.
I'm saying this to you, that it is because of the character and person Jean Mensa. Do you know why the NDC will boycott the presidential debate? Do you know why the PNC will take the IEA to the cleaners in 2012? Because of the character of Jean Mensa. That is the person you are bringing to the Electoral Commission. A person whose pronouncements and utterances are largely biased. So you bring this person and say we should work with her.
So clearly she's not cut out for the job.
She is not, in my opinion. If Charlotte is bad, this is 250 times bad.
Well, I don't know if Bernard Mona was speaking on his behalf or on behalf of PNC, but he was pretty strong.
Well, I mean, this is the most unfairest comment I've ever heard anybody making. And I think the civil society in this country must also speak up for themselves. I'm not saying they are not speaking up for themselves, and this is very unfair. I don't think Bernard Mona has any right to try to run down people in the civil society, particularly Mrs. Jane Mensa. You may not like her, you cannot say so. You cannot even try to downgrade her accomplishment. She's a lawyer, yes, it's an accomplishment. How many people can become lawyers? And she's heading a reputable institution. It should be drummed into him. In fact, I'm afraid that if you would ask me, I believe that IEA is better run than the PNC, with Bernard Mona heads. And I don't think he's being fair to the lady. He's run this institution for 25 years. How long has he been in politics? And I don't think it's fair. A lot of politicians always run down civil society institutions. The political space does not belong only to politicians, and he doesn't have that right. And I think he should be told in the face. It's so unfair, and he must come back and apologize to the lady. IEA has been run for over 25 years. They've accomplished a lot in our political space, and they must be commended. We know politicians. They're like babies. If you pick their toys, they will make noise. That's what happens. The political parties, in one vein, this party will say, I don't like you. Another vein, they will say, they like you. This is the same individual who is not good, whose even academic credentials are being questioned. This is the person that President Mills, under the NDC, appointed to the Constitutional Review Commission. And today, Pres.Akufo-Addo is appointing to head the EC. I know civil society cannot please politicians. You remember, and I think it was on your platform that we discussed the Afrobarometer by the CDD. I did state here that there were 100 questions in that report, and it was only the last question which was talking about which party people would vote for. If I were a member of the NDC, there were so many issues in that report that could have picked against the NPP government. But NDC never saw anything. They saw only the last question, the 100th question, and they tried to run down the CDD. Pick any of our major think tanks, Imani, they will pick important issues. They will bring out researches which these politicians cannot conduct. Yet they will attack these institutions, and I think it is wrong. We should tell our political class that the political space, they are there as players, and there is also civil society which must be respected. And we shouldn't allow them to go on this tangent. It is wrong, and it should be condemned. And then let me take on the media. I think such broadcasts should not be allowed. Because you are also part of the civil society.
Given a platform.
And you must stop some of these things. If you have issues to come and say, if you think she's done a specific issues, if I'm listening to the chairman of the PNC, she couldn't tell me one single issue except to say that, oh, the NDC boycotted the IEA forum. Why did they boycott the forum? Was it because Mrs. Mensa did something wrong, or because it didn't suit the NDC or the MPP for that matter? I'm sorry. If we go back to 2012, the kind of jokes we experienced during the presidential debate, I was happy that the IEA chose not to bring on board some individuals who actually brought down the level of our discussions in this country. And I think he should be condemned. I am sorry. He must be ashamed of himself for doing what he did.
Let's hear a legal opinion. I think we spoke to lawyer Martin Pebu. Let's hear what Pebu was saying.
EC is such a critical governance institution. The EC is the midwife of our elections. So generally you would want somebody who stands tall, generally somebody who stands above partisan considerations. So let's interrogate the concerns that they are raising and find whether there is merit, you see, because that's how come that prior to this appointment, you know, I'd been here, several other platforms.
Even for broader consultation.
The president even started it when he was in opposition. So we thought that, oh, then now that he's in power, then it makes it easy because he was one of the front runners.
So can I ask you a straight question then? Did you feel that that was done, the broader consultation?
Absolutely.
I think you particularly mentioned Gabi.
Absolutely
and what he
no.
had to say.
Yeah, absolutely no, because the president had set the bar. He said broad, open, so broad and open consultations.
Okay, so he's looking at broader consultation, and I think if you listen further, he was talking about the fact that the case is still in court, and if you, get somebody else, you may be in contempt. Well, maybe not contempt, but broader consultation. Let's start with broader consultation.
Broader consultation, I'm all for that. In fact, I've said so myself, and I believe it's important. The position of the EC chair is very sensitive, and it's important that whoever is appointed must, as much as possible, be acceptable to a broad section of the society, particularly. It's important that political parties should have trust in the individual being appointed. I do admit that no matter whoever the president has appointed, no matter which individuals within the NDC may have been consulted by the president, I think that it's not going to be acceptable to the NDC, whoever is ultimately appointed. And I picked one keyword from Mr. Pebu's comment about openness about it. That's also an issue. But then, who should form part of the broad group of people the president should consult? And how should it be done? Openness about this, does it imply that there should be public forums or there should be announced meetings between the president and key individuals?
Or let me say, the minority have a refusal power.
That can be, because that will be contrary to the constitutional provisions. You see, all that we are talking about, broad and open consultation, is the legal opinion is not about broad and open consultation. The legal standing by the Constitution is for the president to do so in consultation with the Council of State. It stands to reason that the president in doing so will be talking to various individuals. I mean, I'll be happy that the president would have consulted, say, the key think tanks, the major think tanks, who have played significant role in our political development over the period. I would be happy if the president can consult with former presidents who are alive. That would have been great. For instance, the president having a chat with President Mahama that, oh, I'm looking to appoint these individuals. Would they be acceptable to you? But then such a discussion cannot be open.
Acceptable is a tricky one. So maybe could you ask, look, give me your opinion on this person. You see, the reason why I say that is that we are so sharply divided. Even if you elect Martin Amidu, who was clearly an NDC man, those who led the opposition was the NDC that said no, not this man. So I don't know. I mean, even if you chose Lordina Mahama,
you see,
think, Mami.
I have heard the deputy general secretary of the NDC saying, for instance, Dr. Bosman Asari, that his writings and his comments are all anti, and that is another challenge I have. When he makes such a statement, I want him to be asked, can you please point us to some of his writings or some of his comments that you have, which he said A, B, or C. Look, in our classrooms, I teach. In our classrooms, we exercise what we call academic freedom. You can't gag me in my classroom. I may share an opinion. Today, I mean, I've been on platforms, like even like yours and other platforms, when I've been labeled A or B. Whenever there's an issue, you speak to the issue based on the facts on it. Especially if you are coming in as an independent assessor. You don't come and speak to the issues because of your biases. Otherwise, next time, I mean, if I want, there's nothing stopping me from joining any political party and taking a role in that. But it's a choice not to belong to any of these parties. And it's a choice to decide to be in civil society. So it's very important that people do not say things about individuals and go scot-free. They must prove it. If indeed, for instance, Dr. Bosman, sorry, he's done a lot of publications.
Let me hold you on Dr. Bosman and then go to Skype. I have Kojo Asante from the CDD on Skype. Dr. Kojo Asante. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Good evening to your viewers.
Great. And can hear you loud and clear. That's nice. Doc, we're discussing the EC4, but let me take you on broader consultation. I mean, what would be open enough and satisfying and transparent enough with regards to broader consultation that would put us all, at peace?
Well, I think, when this issue came up before in 2015, we had suggested that the two-stage process, which involves the president and the Council of State, there should be an effort to consult identifiable groups, and the whole idea is to build as much popular support for whichever appointee that is put in place. All right. So in this case, you would have expected that the president would have consulted people, whether it's the House of Chiefs or religious bodies, civil society groups, as an institution, as a body, right? And that would be made public, that the president had consulted all of these individuals or institutions, right, and have made this nomination, right? We don't know if the president did that, right? But at this stage, once the nomination has been put up, there is still a second opportunity, which is rests with the Council of State, for anybody who has any issue to petition them, right? So the Constitution gives the Council of State 30 days to provide the advice to the president after the request. So for me, and I keep saying this, that all of these concerns that have been put out, whether by political parties or individuals, we should use the Council of State process to petition, them, and then ask that they look at whatever evidence that we have around integrity or partisanship or whatever. We should do that, because if we don't do that, then you lead to all kinds of speculations, which doesn't help building the kind of integrity and credibility of the leadership of the East.
Doc, let me come in here. With this broader consultation, should there be a clause to say, well, 60% of the people consulted should agree to the nominee? Because otherwise, then what? I speak to the Council of Chiefs, the body of pastors, you know, then what happens? If they all say no and, well, I've consulted them, they said no, but I've nominated. What should be the outcome be?
It's very important, because you see, you don't lose anything from going beyond the constitutional flaw, right? You actually gain much from engaging as many people and as many groups as you can to ensure that the candidates that you have put forward are generally acceptable to the majority of people. I don't think that, and it doesn't take much to meet the House of Chiefs to talk to the Council of State, right? So I think, and another process is that those who have issues can also go to this body and petition it. So if we don't do that, then we cannot use the legal process to resolve these concerns.
Doc, are you for the amendment of the Constitution to say, look, let's take this powers away from the president and probably give it to a different body that may be seen as neutral, you know, maybe the Council of, you know, religious bodies or House of Chiefs?
I think what the other places, like Kenya and other places, have done, where people actually apply for this job, they are vetted by, you know, whether it's Parliament or, you know, some sort of multi-stakeholder group. Sometimes they do it in public, right? And that kind of endorsement, whatever things that are you're hiding, it will come out, right? So that is the process that we have to go. I think the vetting special prosecutor, for example, is that kind of process, right? That would enhance the legitimacy of his office.
Look, I mean, you've taken into consideration how divided we are and how partisan we are in our thinking with regards to everything. Can it happen in our terrain? So far as I'm the president, whoever is coming in, you know, when I am president, they would deem that, there you go, Nana Sakwa was bringing his guy.
But it's not just for the president. Is it the case that Ghanaians believe that this person is partisan or that it's not partisan? So that is that for me is the bigger hurdle that everybody has to overcome. If at the end the majority of Ghanaians believe that in spite of that have been raised, they are convinced that this is not partisan. It is a first step, and the step is actually performing their duties. We will get to know whether it's partisan. For example, why did he come to accept that Dr. Akufo-Addo was not partisan? Because both MPP and NDC want right. So it's not the beginning of the process is not a final of partisanship or competence. You will also know when.
Well, thank you very much there. Let me take a quick pause and come back and continue, because it looks like it's getting interesting, but it's definitely a conversation to be had. Don't go. Well, thank you very much for saying EC nominations, and that's the issue on the table. President has, nominated four fine individuals to come and work at the EC. And obviously, like everything else, we are sharply divided. Those who think no, they are not right, and those who think yes, they are right. particularly the EC chair. That's always the most, that touches on a lot of nerves. And, the issue of broader consultation, speak to him, speak to Parliament. Now, if you are asking the president to go broader, are we then telling him that, well, if you speak to 10 people and 6 say no, go and bring a different person, like a Queen Mother bringing a chief and a Dick Crow and a Busi, and he says, look, we won't agree. You have to go and bring another candidate.
Well, no, I think broader could mean several things. I believe our constitution is sometimes effective in certain things. If you look at Article 70, which is the provisions for the appointment of some of these key constitutional bodies like the EC, the SRAJ, and the likes. The requirement is for the president acting in consultation with the Council of State to appoint these the people to these offices. But we've had a precedent in this country when we lost our president, President Mills, and President Mahama, who was then the vice president, became the president. And he needed to appoint a vice president. There was no constitutional requirement for Pakwesi Mstata then to be subjected to parliamentary scrutiny. But it was agreed that he should go for a vetting of a sort. I think that we can look to some of these precedents and submit these individuals, subject them to parliamentary scrutiny, let them go through the vetting processes, let them be accepted or otherwise. I mean, let's even see that as a kind of advice from Parliament to the President. And I believe that is also another avenue for expanding the scope of broad consultation. Because at least within the Parliament, we have both major political parties there. But then, I could also think that the president could hold some meetings with political parties leaders and the likes.
So in that case, is the president trying to convince these people that, listen, I've chosen these guys, they are good, please go with me, or I've chosen these guys, what do you think? I mean, what's... Well, because clearly the president will choose somebody who he thinks that, look, this individual can do the job.
Yes.
Whether you support me or not, the person is capable, and therefore go and do it.
You see, but for the overly partisan nature of our politics, it should have been easy for some of these consultations. But then, for starters, we've had people, individuals, speaking with such venom against the individuals involved. Hitherto, until Mrs. Mensa's appointment, until Dr. Asari's appointment, nobody could have come and stand on national television to virtually insult them the way we are seeing. But suddenly, once they are appointed, and mind you, this is not new. Let me also say that although the MPP as a party would claim that as a party they never openly, or they never as an institution, attacked Mrs. Osei when her name popped up. There were MPP people who were also vilifying her. Indeed, somebody sent me a picture of Mrs. Osei as a parliamentary candidate for the NDC in Evaluate.
I mean, some of the things they said were really low. I mean, they said really low things.
These were unfair.
Really.
And I'm not sitting here to say that a particular party is guilty of that. But this is what we must seek to cure. We must find an antidote to this problem. And I believe broader consultation could mean parliamentary scrutiny. Because within the parliamentary system, in spite of all that we see going on, the leadership also meets to decide on some of these things, and they make concessions with one another. Excuse me.
Okay.
So I think let's start looking to that space to also bring some level of consensus building in the process. I think it will serve us all if the president indeed considers the views of the opposition is very important. They are major stakeholders in the political space. And in as much as you and I believe that it is not up to the EC chair and the deputies or the commissioners to tilt the election results in favor of any political party, it's also important that all their actions must be seen to be fair. It must not just be fair, it must be deemed to be fair. And in the game of politics, perception is as important as reality. So let us try to build bridges and let everybody feel that at least I can be rest assured that even if this individual is going to occupy that office, that person is going to be fair to me.
Let me divert a little bit and come back. What did Mr. Afarijan do that we didn't seem to hear so much, squabbles within the entity, and then all of a sudden it's like the castle's tumbling down?
Well, I've never had the personal privilege of meeting with him personally, but publicly, he projected an image of somebody who knew what he was about and knew that no matter what he does, he was going to be kicked by one side or the other,
or by the right,
and made up his mind that he wasn't going to be bothered and that he was going to do what is right according to his own understanding and to the best of his abilities. So, I mean, and then let's also remember that his appointment came just after the very first election. Because under the first election where we had INEC, Interim National Election Commission, he was a deputy to the then Venerable Justice Josiah. I know he's Josiah, I forgot it the other day. He was in that commission, and subsequently he was elevated to the chairman of the commission. In fact, technically speaking, he's the first chairman because the previous one was an interim commission. Now, when he took over the position, he started most of the electoral reforms that we've experienced in this country. So over the period, from the opaque ballot box, he took us from opaque ballot box to the transparent ballot boxes. He took us from ID cards with no pictures to the ID card with pictures. So he was part of most of the reforms we are witnessing today. So by and large, he was able to project to everybody that, look, I am independent-minded, I'll do my own thing according to the laws that gives me the power. So I think that is also part of the reason. And I think he was also quite approachable. Because I've never heard any of the political parties saying we wanted to have audience with him and he refused.
Let's hear this, another twist to the conversation. Let's hear what Amabino-Addo was saying.
Oh, the president will bring the name and we will endorse it. Because once the president brings the name, we expect that he had done his background checks. And so normally we endorse the person the president brought.
So you don't necessarily do a lot of you don't necessarily have to disagree, or you don't necessarily disagree with the president. Once the name comes, yours is to sort of rubber stamp it.
Not rubber stamping. You look at all other things, weigh the situation as at the time, and think that the person can do it, and you endorse.
So what can the Council of State do?
Well,
clearly whoever the president will bring will tick the boxes.
Yeah.
You see, so things like maybe temperament and stuff, I doubt if the Council of State can say, no, this guy is quick-tempered. Is he a lawyer? Is he 40 years and above? Has he been in prison? No. Has he done this? Has he done that? Has he worked? Has he paid his taxes? Ticks all the boxes. Okay. But maybe he hasn't got people, or he or she hasn't got people skills. You don't go, this man hasn't got...
You see, sometimes when people complain about people's skills and all that, is that individual successful? Has she been successful where she is? Let's take Mrs. Jane Mensa. She's heading IE, which is a reputable institution. You see, in our part of the world, I don't know, but there are things going around that I want to really respond to. In our part of the world, some people are afraid of successful people.
Particularly women.
Particularly women. Some people cannot stand women who are in powerful positions. And when, especially if they are men and they are going to deal with such people, they think the woman should kowtow to them and that they can't stand their grounds, even if they know what they are doing is right. I don't think you could have an individual leading such a successful institution and you tell me that, oh, I mean, what was not said about Mrs. Osei when she was in power? People say she's arrogant, she's not friendly, she's not that. Maybe they're going to be throwing some of these things at Mrs. Jane Mensa. But you can lead such a successful institution and not be tough. And this is where people cannot stand. They can't stand confident people. They can't stand women. Some cannot stand women. And some cannot stand confident people. And if you have a confident woman, then they are afraid of them. They'll run them down. And I don't think that is fair. So the temperament issues, does a person have anger problems? And out of that, they've gone to kill somebody or they've been involved in road rage and they have some convictions or something. You can't say because they are tough in their workplace, they can't be good. I measure success by what I see. And nobody can tell me such an institution is not successful. So I'm not really bothered by that bit. I think we should, especially we men, we are also very guilty of that. And we should accept some of such women. As it is, we don't have enough of them. And we should encourage the few that are there. And I think if we are going to lose Mrs. Osei,
does it not make the Council of State, you know, a pseudo rubber stamp?
It is. Maybe that is for another important discussion. What is actually the constitutional role of the Council of State? What are its powers? What is the president obliged to listen to them, or it is just superficial? These are critical issues going forward we have to look at. Otherwise, maybe we have to go for the second chamber we talk about, which will be giving more credible powers. Because as it is, listening, maybe that's not the full story. We didn't hear the whole interview. But it portends, it gives you an impression that it's a rubber stamp institution. But I don't believe so. If I look at the Council of States, the various councils we've had over the years, there's very prominent individuals in there, very respectable individuals. I can just look at Mr. The lawyer, Lawyer Kujeto, and
he can't be a rubber stamp, can he?
He can't be a rubber stamp. I think he's an individual who will tell the president his peace of mind if he's not happy with the decision. So I am all for what Dr. Asante was suggesting. Why don't people even send petitions to the Council of State concerning this individual?
You state the reasons why. You
state the reasons that we believe the person has done A, B, C, so the person is not right, rather than run them down in the media and the likes. I think that would be a better process. And I still think we should look to parliamentary involvement in the process as well.
As in the vetting wise?
Yes.
Like the special prosecutor?
That will give the offices better public acceptability.
I know we've done a lot about, but briefly on our own friend Dr. Bosman Asari. That's one surprise for all of us.
And I'm very, very happy for him. Dr. Asari, if you are listening to me, let me take this opportunity to congratulate you. He is an academic par excellence. He's risen. He's fairly young. and is risen to this high office, it shows that he was doing something. And I would take this opportunity to challenge those people who are saying that his writings have, he's used his writings to show his biases. Let him tell us his writings that are biased against any political party, and let us all go and read it and come out and attack Dr. Asare for that. For now, I'm very happy. I feel proud to have been associated with him on this platform and other platforms I've shared with him, and I wish him Godspeed.
Thank you very much for watching us. I always say we'll be back to do this all over again. That was a good friend of PM Express, Pres.Akufo-Addo, political analyst, and sharing his views there. And to all who were nominated to the EC from PM Express, we say congratulations. Thank you for watching. Good friend of PM Express.